Water. It is a beautiful magic morning out there. Welcome, my friends of magic. Welcome, colleagues of conjuring, neighbours of necromancy. Welcome to the show. I'm your host. I'm Dean. Cheers. That's more like it. What have we got today? Well, today I've got something behind me on the bookshelf. What? This show's suddenly become very meta. He's referencing his own bookshelf? Well, I have to, because the product that I'm reviewing today lives on the shelf. And it should live on everyone's shelves. It's the only magic book on my shelf. Now, I wonder why. Here's a little competition for you all, okay? We'll play together. Why are there no magic books on my magic shelf? Well, it's not really my magic shelf, it's just a shelf, because there's no magic on it. There's magic on it, but there's no magic books on it. Why? Is the reason A, all my magic books are in a different shelf, in a different room, so prying eyes out there in your land can't see what I've got and start judging me for my choices and my tastes in magic-related literature? Or B, have I never owned a magic book? That's a quirk about Dean Atkinson no one knows. I've never actually owned a magic book. Or is it B, I sold them all at an ASM auction to buy the first ever iPod? Is it A? Is it B? Or is it C? Come close to the screen. Come on. I can see you. Come close to the screen. Take your finger. Place it on the one you think it is. C, B, or A. Have you got one? I wonder if you're right. Let's make the other two vanish. That's right. It was C. Wow. My mind went for a minute then. I lost all train. I don't quite know what I'm talking or thinking about. Let's just spend a few moments in my mind.
¡Ja! ¡Bienvenidos a la cripta! Dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay, dame tu cosita, dame tu cosita, ay.
Wow. What a strange place that turned out to be. Isn't that right, Dracula?
Yeah, it is right, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, let's get serious. What's on the shelf? What am I reviewing? Well, it's a book. That's what you keep on your shelf, a book. This is a great book. I love this book. It is Machinations by Ben Harris. He's an Aussie. Sport the Aussies. Published by Vanishing Ink in America. That's fine too, because it's been published exceptionally well. We'll show the inside in a minute. What's it all about? Well, it's about the trapdoor card. And I had a lot of fun reading this over the weekend, because it did bring back a lot of memories for me, which I'll go into in a second. What is the trapdoor card? Well, the trapdoor card it fascinates me, this kind of thing, and I hope it fascinates you too, because it's directly related to what we do as magicians. It's puzzle, and it's mystery, and it's magic, all rolled into one little arcane kind of package idea. This is the sort of thing that really should buzz you up as a thinker, as a magic thinker. You should be interested in things like this. It's weird how this works. It's basically a card. It's a playing card. This is how it originated. By Robert Neal, who is the inventor of the trapdoor card. I had Robert Neal's books too. Sold them at the ASM auction for the first iPod. But he invented it, I believe, as a playing card. It's a playing card with a trapdoor in it, and a person holds the trapdoor. The person becomes intrinsically linked, ingrained within the piece without letting go. You fold the card up, face up, and then when you unfold it, it's face down. You've turned inside out. The card is turned inside out, even though you've had hold of part of it. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful idea. But as Ben says in his book, it sort of stopped at a card. Terry Rogers, who was a great magician and ventriloquist, first real stand-up club ventriloquist, Terry Rogers, wonderful act. She took it a step further and had it two cards glued back to back, which you unfold, and then they would end up face to face on the unfold. Same idea, but called Stargates. But no one really pursued the idea until Ben came along, and he's put together plots he's put together theatrical plots surrounding the idea of turning inside out through a trapdoor. And I'll tell you why it brought back memories for me, because when I was a kid, I was in the Middlesbrough Circle of Magicians. And I was in the youth section. And for a regional club, it was up there. It was very well respected. A lot of famous magicians came out of it. Paul Daniels, John Archer, Pete Furman came out of there. And also Kevin Ray, who was at one time the best card magician in the world, sadly no longer with us. And Martin Sanderson, you don't see him around much anymore, but a great sleight of hand artist. Even when he was a kid of 16, he was phenomenal. They all came out of there. Great club. I used to go to the youth section, and the old timers would bring in stuff they didn't want anymore for the kids. Old Magigram magazines or Abra magazines and Supreme catalogues and things, and you'd look through the catalogues. And that's how you start, isn't it, with magic, looking through the old catalogues and stuff. And one of the things I got in a pack when I got home one night was the trapdoor card. And I played around with it, and because there was a set of instructions there, it must have been, I guess, one of the first ones put out by Robert Neal, possibly. I didn't know at the time. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is magic. I'm in this world now where things turn inside out. No one knows, and no one knew how it worked. I fooled everyone with it. And funnily enough, I realised that I could also pull a silk through the trapdoor, and if I closed the trapdoor quickly, it looked like a penetration effect. I'm serious. I used to do the trapdoor card in my first shows, put it away, do something else, go back in, bring out the card with the trapdoor closed, and say, now for the silk passing through the card trick. And I got 2 tricks out of the trapdoor card. I'm not suggesting you do it with this. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the book. Ben has taken the idea onwards. He's taken it away from the card, and, well, he starts by stripping it bare. He talks about a piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper that's blank on both sides, and you can go through that trapdoor. And then he elaborates on the idea. He turns the idea into a theatre piece. There are all sorts of different plots, all sorts of different themes and theatre surrounding the idea of the trapdoor card. What does the trapdoor mean? How many, how can you go to the other side of something? What themes surround going to the other side, going through, being upside down, being right side up, being left, being right. All sorts of wonderful things. And in the back, there's a whole bunch of props, a whole bunch of gaffs. These are the trapdoor cards. And I believe that every routine that's taught in the book is represented here by a very nice quality printed gaff as a trapdoor card. And there's all different sorts of ideas. This is the upside down trick. I think you start upside, then go downside, or something like that. Ben can correct me on Facebook, tell me it was all wrong. So the gaffs are all there to do all the different storylines. And if you end up losing them in years to come, it doesn't matter, because there are illustrations of all of those plots, all of those storylines throughout this wonderfully produced book. And you can get those printed off at Officeworks, or you could just photocopy them and use paper, or stick them onto thin card and do it that way. There's all sorts of different weird and wonderful applications for it. He does one where there's 3 of them. He does like a count with 3 trapdoors, and you have to guess the one where the treasure's buried, and they end up guessing right, so you go through and there's the treasure. So he's really taken this idea a step further. It's a wonderful book. I had a lot of fun reading this. I love the subject matter. Please buy one of these and put it on your shelf. You deserve to have this by Australian author Ben Harris. This is my review this week. It's Machinations. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next week on Magic Mornings. Isn't that right, Dracula?
Yeah, it is right, yeah.
Okay, see ya. See ya, Dracula.
Yeah.
See you, Dracula.